All right, doing another car blog because I'm in the middle of doing stuff today and I don't have time to sit down and do a regular one. So sorry for the horrible production value, but I want to talk about what's going on with the election. I don't know how many people stayed up late on the 3rd and actually watched everything as they were coming in, but it's pretty apparent what's going on. Now, first, let's look back at all the stuff that happened before the election. Obviously, we know about all the states that are putting out things where it's like, oh, we're going to do mail-in ballot. We're going to allow people to mail in ballots all the way up to the day of the election, as long as they're postmarked as the day of the election. We're going to allow people to not worry about postmarking. We're going to allow people to collect ballots. We're not going to worry about having to have signatures signed. They're making all these laws on the state level that allow these tiny little balances that make it easier for fraudulent ballots to come in. Then another big one that's becoming very apparent right now is how many times the Democratic Party asked Trump, hey, if you lose, will you step down from office? And at the time, most of us were going, well, if he loses, yeah. If it's a fair and square loss, cop up here, I gotta slow down. I'm speeding, but I gotta slow down because there's only 2 lanes. I gotta go 10 under. So, if you lose, will you step down? And I'm like, okay, yeah, if he fair and square loses, step down. That's how democracy works, or technically a constitutional republic, the form of democracy. But regardless, if he loses, square step, I have no problem with that. But now that we're looking at it, I think the reason that they're asking him that so many times because they had what they were doing in Florida. They kept their stuff pretty well shored up. They were keeping track of stuff, and they were making sure the votes were tallied properly. And even then, they were still going, well, Trump was ahead. They were saying, hey, Florida's going to go to the Joe Biden. Florida's going to Joe Biden. It's like, Trump's got the lead there. I don't understand exactly how you're saying that. So they're saying, oh, it's going to go to Joe Biden. And then when he was obviously in the lead, they had enough percentage towards Donald Trump, and they're like, oh, well, some of the smaller communities, this and that. I was watching Newsmax, and they were still refusing to call Florida for Trump, even though it's like, okay, he's pretty well got this. Then you got Fox News, which called Arizona way before they had enough of the percentage in already, and they had to retract it, and it just didn't make any sense. And so I'm sitting here watching the numbers come in. I watched it all the way to 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm watching Georgia, Trump's got the lead. North Carolina, Trump's got the lead. We're not talking about like 10 or 20,000. We're talking about 100,000, 200,000 votes in the lead. And then once he was that far in the lead and they had enough percentage in, they're just like, yeah, we're going to stop counting now. Like, whoa. I'm only 37, but I've been through enough elections to know that you don't just stop counting. That's not how elections work. You don't just like, yeah, we're going to stop counting now. We'll start again tomorrow. Like, whoa, when has that ever happened? And even then, they said we're going to stop counting because we got to start counting all of our mail-in ballots. And they're like, wait, the mail-in ballots that people mostly sent in a week or 2 ago, they've been coming in for a month. Why would you wait till after this to start counting those? What if you had counted those already? That makes zero fucking sense. So North Carolina stopped counting, Georgia stopped counting, Pennsylvania stopped counting, Michigan stopped counting, Florida stopped counting, Arizona stopped counting. It's like, okay, this doesn't make any damn sense. And I'm looking at 3 a.m. when all these places said, yeah, we're going to stop counting at 3 a.m. It's like, why would you stop counting at 3 a.m.? And I went to bed and, Trump was up by like, my God, it was like 70,000 votes in Wisconsin, almost 100,000 in Michigan. They were about dead even in Arizona. And then the next morning when I wake up and I hear, oh yeah, well, we got a bunch of ballots in overnight. where the fuck did these overnight ballots come from? You know, we got pictures of people rolling in ballots and igloo coolers and these random unmarked boxes coming out of nowhere. And all of a sudden, Biden's up. He completely got rid of that 70,000, 100,000 votes. And now he's up 50, 60,000 votes. Plus, it's like, okay, so you're trying to tell me that Trump was ahead 70,000, now he's down 50,000 votes? Like, where did these damn things come from? And even then, you know, you got in Michigan, they're not allowing poll watchers to look at these ballots. And once that happens, once they pull them out the envelope, there's no way to see if they're even valid anymore. The validity of those votes are out the window because they can't check to see if the postmark was right. They can't check to see if they were in the proper packages. And even then, they're saying that there's hundreds of thousands of votes in states coming out where they didn't do the entire ballot. It's just Joe Biden. That's it. No congressman, no anything else, no cities, just Joe Biden and no other voting done on it. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious that this has been something that has been in the works for probably a year, if not longer, where they were working with these key states, Wisconsin, Michigan, North Carolina, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Illinois, and Nevada, not Illinois, Arizona and Nevada. We're like, hey, we're going to get these states because Trump has to have them. And if it gets anywhere near Trump winning, we're just going to close the vote down. We're going to bring these votes in, and we're not going to let anyone see it. And by the time they know what's going on, we already got them open. I mean, other than, what is it, with Bush and, can't remember what, back in the early 90s, at one time with Florida, they had to go back and do a recount. Other than that, this is the only time I could, in my history that I can remember. I mean, there's been a few times in history back in the 1800s and early 1900s that elections were stolen. But every time that happened, I mean, look, we're talking about like how slavery ended up becoming something for 100 extra years and things of that nature. I mean, this is an absolute assault on our entire way of life here in America. If you break down the highest ranking position that we have in America, and you do it like just as openly as possible. I mean, we got people who are going by and they're checking the names of their relatives who died, 10 years ago. You got people that are supposed to be 116 years old who died in the 80s, and they're going in and checking against their name and their birthday. And, oh yeah, they voted in Michigan. This is an obvious, I mean, not even remotely sneaky stealing this shit. And the worst part is, there's not much we can do about it. I mean, we can turn around and sue, but then the Democrats are going to be like, oh, well, you guys were whining about us complaining last time. It's like, we guys were saying we cheated because some Russian people bought some Facebook ads, which, by the way, the company who did that, who hired the Russian people to buy the Facebook ads, we found out that exact same company is the one who is advertising for the Democratic Party. So it's like, we already know that was you. Now you guys are pulling this shit, which is probably the largest voter fraud in American history, to try to get Sleepy Joe up there. And I mean, what do you expect us to do? I mean, you expect us to sit back and just let it happen? I mean, this right here is going to be a huge turning point, because right now, I mean, we thought things have been bad in 2020. Things are going to get way worse, because we're looking at, I mean, people are going to see what's going on. The evidence is going to start coming out, and people are going to be pissed. And you think Antifa and Black Lives Matter was kind of calm or was crazy before? They're going to go, I mean, you got to remember that these people are sponsored by the Democratic Party and George Soros and all those people. They're about to go full tilt crazy. And they're gonna start riots, and they're gonna start little things, and we're talking about full on battle royale in the streets and all kinds of shit. So guys, if you don't have your stuff ready, get as much ammo as you can, get some body armor, make sure your weapons are functioning and get it in properly, make sure you got some canned goods and saved up. Make sure you take some extra money, save it up, don't put in your savings account. Get it in cash, put it in your safe, do some stuff like that, because the economy is about to go to shit. The police are about to go crazy. All the leftists are about to go crazy, and things are just going to go ape shit. So, like I said, start looking into it. I'm not the absolute 100% source for this stuff, but start looking like what Louder Prouder's looking at. Look at what Viva La Fry and Barnes are talking about. There's a lot of information that's just coming out that's absolutely crazy. So when I get actual information and good evidence, I'll create a video. It's not just my fat face and my roof of my car, and put together something better. But for now, start looking, people. You're going to be surprised what you find. Till next time.